Hey everybody, welcome. This is Mr. Hardcore Mode where nothing's easy. I have a Black Desert Online open beta video for you for the people that wanted to play on PlayStation 4 for this games. There are half of you that actually never heard of this game, and there's actually half of you that have been like waiting for anticipation. Maybe you played it on PC or something where where it actually came from. You know, people that actually wanted to play. But this is my personal impression. Of course, this is the open beta, so not everything is up to par yet. But the game it's open beta. It's the literal game. The game's about to come out in like a few days, so it's pretty much the game. That's whenever an open beta or a beta comes out, he's like nothing's subject to change. Not on launch. Not when it's like a few days next up. But anyway, I'm going to give you the good, the bad, the ugly of Black Desert Online. And let's start that off right now. The first thing that I want to tell you guys about Black Desert Online is the story. Yeah, the story that's something that you might possibly ignore. You might actually, it's not all that good. It's something that you'll ignore. You'll just want to get back into the game. You'll pretty much just want to just want to play the game. You'll skip it. You'll go to the next mission, skip it. There's a lot of fetch quests in the game, and you'll hear one thing and then you'll just forget about it. And there was one moment during the story that was actually kind of interesting. You actually have a choice to change the story in some way, which was kind of interesting, but it wasn't too much of a big change on the story. You're pretty much dealing with this black spirit, and you agreed to a contract, yada yada. You're trying to. He's like you're bent to his will. He's pretty much. Actually, I can show you the character right now. He is pretty much. You're at his beck and call. This character, right? Oh, am I still in combat? This guy right here. He will constantly change as the story progresses, and obviously he looks like he's the main antagonist, obviously. But other than that, that's the story. Let's move on to gameplay-wise. The gameplay is actually... it's kind of like a mix of a hack and slash Dark Souls. They will not teach you anything. There is no tutorial. You will jump in. They will literally tell you to kill these things, but you need to learn all the combos, all the things to do what your character wants. I'm playing a sorceress right now. Some of the combos I kind of it takes some getting used to. If you're into hack and slashes like Devil May Cry, and stuff like that, and remembering combos, then you're good to go. It just takes some time, the learning curve, which is kind of cool, kind of good. You look amazing doing all the fucking moves, but other than that, there are many mobs in this game that are quite amazing looking, like these skeleton ogres right here. They pack quite a punch later on in the game, and there is a moment where if you can actually look on the top of the screen, or you can see their health bar is not going down. The reason being is because there's a certain knowledge system to the game where if you beat them enough, you'll start to learn how much health that they got, how much what they're weak against, what they're strong against, that sort of thing. So you got to just keep on fighting that certain type of monster, bring up that rank, and then you'll start to figure out like, hey, this monster is actually dying pretty quickly. You just need knowledge to just figure out pretty much where their health is going. And but overall, the combat is pretty fluid, pretty great. You will need to figure out with the word that you will have to fight many mobs, probably over and over again with this gameplay. If you enjoy the combat, then you are already good, my friend. You are already good. If that's what you came in here for combat, that's what you wanted to do, then you're set. There's a lot of fetch quests, but they tell you to kill many mobs later on. At the beginning, they tell you to kill 15. Later on, they tell you to kill 100, and it can get pretty tiring to me sometimes. But the quality of life stuff in the game, let me tell you about that. That's also part of the gameplay. The gameplay on that is quite interesting. You can actually gain knowledge and conversations through each and every NPC. You can literally talk to anybody and gain some knowledge, gain some some fame, some recognition. I think you get buffs for doing that sort of thing in certain areas, certain regions, but I don't know too much on it, but it looks like it seems to be kind of interesting. It's just a big learning curve. A lot of stuff that you get from Black Desert Online, when you boot this game up, anything you want to learn, you'll probably have to look on Google, Google something up. It's pretty deep. But like you said, Elk A, rank A, now I know how much health that elk has. But anyway, there is crafting, there is fishing, there is boating, I guess. There is actually quite a lot of, like quality of life kind of things right there. But it's all quite interesting. There's alchemy, hunting, cooking, sailing, that sort of thing. You can farm for certain materials, and there's actually a bona fide trading system inside the game. You can actually barter what kind of materials will be how much. If you get a good bartering amount, then you'll sell for high. Sell for high instead of just normal price. But you got to be careful with that. But overall, I think the quality of life kind of skills in the game is actually kind of the strong suit of the game. But the next thing that I wanted to do, which I regret to inform, no, not that. I'm not going to talk about the bad stuff. I'm going to talk about the bad stuff later. I'll talk about the good stuff now. Get that out of the way. The good stuff about the game. The game is absolutely beautiful. There are moments where there is a lot of rendering and frame drops, which is, if you run way too fast and you just run into a city, you will literally, ooh, it's an L. Oh, stay focused. You will literally find yourself in like a potato city. You're gonna look around and be like, oh, well, nobody's here in the city, and then the city will pop up like 10 seconds later with like rendered people just all over the place. It's pretty blah. But when it starts to load up, it looks really, really amazing, really beautiful, especially if you have the PlayStation Pro. Like, look at this. Look at it. This is an actual area that I can go to. This is what an MMO should look like an actual bona fide world. I love myself some Final Fantasy XIV, as you can tell, but this area is a bona fide forest. I like that. I like that. There are many interesting characters. Each character has like pretty much a life, an NPC, sort of. It looks like there's actually legitimate people in the world, which is quite amazing. Like, you'll see many, oh god, I've never met those before. Many different people, and they'll all be looking like they're working. They're not going to just stand there like some, MMOs or some characters, something like that. It's going to be, it's pretty beautiful in some moments. But the only thing that I have a problem with is the rendering. It takes a second, and then it's like, it'll show up. But other than that, let's move on to the characters. The characters is the next thing, or the classes is the next thing that I wanted to speak to you about. The classes are pretty much 6 classes that you got for PS4 that I'm pretty sure is going to be out for... You're only going to have the 6 classes when the actual game comes out, which is actually bullshit when they have 16 classes right now. But you have the Sorceress, the Witch, the Knight, the Berserker... Okay, leave. The Berserker, and let's see, what else do you got? The Sorceress, boom, 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 Witch, Knight. Am I missing anybody? Witch and Wizard. Yeah, that for some odd reason there's a switch off there. And Berserker. Yep, that's pretty much all that there is. There's only 6. The starting people of Black Desert Online. I have a feeling, now this is the bad part, this is probably the mega bad part about the game. If you're a person that actually has looked up the game and you were like, oh man, I want to be that character, you know, can't wait until it comes out on PS4, like, there is a mystic, a tamer, a shy, many different, like, characters. Ninja, everybody loves being ninja, you know. There's many different classes that people want to be. But, I believe that you will only start off with 6 characters when the game comes out on PS4. Being because Xbox actually has Black Desert Online, they've had it for a year now. They started off the same way, and they gradually started to gain characters. Now, I don't think that that's a good. Oh God, get out of my way. That's a good way to go about things because there are many people. If you are into the witch or the wizard, then you're probably going to enjoy the game. That's the character that's already available. There you go. He's like, you can play that character. But if you're somebody like me who I actually want to play as a mystic or something like that, something different. I love sorceress, but there's many different kind of classes that I want to play. If you want to be those interesting types of classes, it's most likely not going to happen. The only abled ones that are going to come out when this thing launches is most likely going to be the 6 that is already out on open beta. It's like that sort of diminishes a lot of people from playing the game. They'll probably wait, or maybe they might go back to their MMO like I might possibly do, because I was interested in Black Desert Online for years now. The game has started in 2018 or 2015 or 16, and the fact that they broke out some of the characters and, you know, gave you only the vanilla version of classes is kind of breaks my heart a little bit, because even through all the bad problems of the game, it has its good moments, which I honestly wish that I could play as. The game will probably come out for $30 in standard. There are other different versions of the game, but I pretty much would say stick to your 30, because this game is a literal grind, and some moments, most moments, is going to be pay to win. It can be that, like, for a good majority. The there are moments when you need inventory, and inventory space is very scarce unless you keep on continuing the story or getting the side mission to get more inventory space. There are going to be moments where you are going to... There's a weight problem. Everybody hates it, but it's there. So you got inventory space that's low, and you also have weight, which is going to be a problem. So those are 2 things that are kind of a conundrum, especially if you plan on being that gathering type of person. It's like you need to constantly try to figure out, okay, am I going to throw this away, that sort of thing, or, you know, am I just going to, you know, get a horse? You can actually get a wagon in this game and, you know, try to work around that way. That way, a wagon will give you more space. You can put stuff into your wagon, and you can continue on your journey, which is actually kind of cool. But there are, you know, moments like that you got to figure out on your own. To get certain things in the game, like I said before, horses, trying to figure out how to gather, trying to figure out how to gain money. Money's an issue. It's you have to figure it out on your own, pretty much, with some help with friends, maybe through the internet, which I did. I had to figure out through friend, and, you know, try to figure out, how do I get a horse? How do I start gathering? How do I start fishing? You know, I asked a million questions, and I'm pretty sure I bugged him about it. But he was overall nice about it. But there's that. There is a moment when there was one other thing that I wanted to speak to about. There is a problem with gear. Now, on the open beta, there were only certain moments when I did find gear or when I earned gear, but from 1 to 50, I literally had, like, barely any gear. There's a lot of people here, jeez. There's barely any gear. So the only way you get good... How did you survive here, man? Did you see... Anyway, there is... In order for you to get good gear, you have to farm bosses to get really nice gear, or to farm areas and defeat enemies and get gear that way. Those are the two ways to get good gear, and then you can enhance or fuse the gear to your fitting, which is kind of bad. You see, there is a really good chance for you to get a lot of good money from farming monsters, but there's a really, really RNG low chance for you to get good gear from enemies. You will fight enemies on and on, knowing very well that, hey, this area drops good armor for this character, or this area drops good accessories or weapons. However, what I've been hearing is the drop chance is like, it sounds to me like 5% to like, I'll give it 6%. The only things that I've ever gotten from an actual drop was like these two helmets, I think, yeah, these two things right here. I've been fighting these things over and over. I think like 200 of these enemies, and it gets tiring after a while. You'll stand there, and you'll try to enjoy, you know, kicking some butt, kick some ass, but after a while, it's gonna be an hour, and you're gonna be like, hey, nothing's dropping. And then I overhear that what I've been hearing is, if you want something to drop at a certain area, you gotta pull in about 4 hours. And I'm not even joking. I'm not joking about this. I wouldn't lie to you guys. I'm talking about 6 to 8 hours, maybe even 10 hours to obtain certain gear in a certain area. That kind of me is like, oh god, I don't think I want to do that. I got things to do. I got people to feed. I got a dog, you know, that sort of thing. It's like, I don't want to go online, you know, look for one pair of earrings, you know, something like that. And the armor and the accessories in certain areas does sell for a lot of money. But that's why they cost a lot of money, because getting them is very, very hard. I think the rule of thumb is with any MMO, if it's hard to get, then it's a lot of money. I think that's, I think it's just that's how it is. Is there anything else that I might have missed in this game? The game is quite expansive, quite huge, quite detailed. And I'm getting my ass whooped by a giant ogre. Oh, okay, that's fine. There's a town close by. Like I said, very hard enemies. You gotta stay completely focused, but I'm not. But there are moments when this game does kind of have some very, very like memorable moments. The boss fights right now, for some odd reason, I gotta say, is kind of bad, because you'll get a scroll for a boss, and then it might not show up. Now this is in the open beta, and I'm pretty sure it doesn't happen on PC from what I've heard, but during the open beta, you would try to use the scroll to summon the boss, and then it will literally not show up. And you'll have to restart that mission again. It'll take like 2 seconds, and then try it again. For some odd reason, they say like this node is I don't know, having a siege war. You know, you'll have to come back later, and I'm like, that's crazy. That shouldn't even matter. Apparently, I think it might be a bug from what I'm hearing, but other than that, it's actually quite annoying, and I hope they fix that. There's actually another problem with the game that I should entail. That is, what was I? Oh man, it just escaped me for a second. It literally did. There is, is that a dragon? That's cool. It was something. I just can't remember what exactly. It was one thing that was bothering me. The classes bothered me. these certain mechanics in the game. Boom! That's what I remember. The UI. As you can see, this UI is kind of atrocious. I like a very clean UI. I like to like put things in a certain way. Boom, boom. I like to take certain things away and stay focused. I want to put that health bar and that mana bar downwards instead of upwards, you know, so I can, you know, keep an eye on it. But he's like, it is very bad. I like very clean UIs, and it should let me do. Well, I don't know who the hell that guy is. Oh, that was a player. Holy shit! He just came out of nowhere. That is another thing about this game. Once you hit level 50, which I just have, PvP will be available. You have an option to not become level 50 and ignore PvP altogether, but in order for you to encounter everything in the game, you obtain level 50. PvP is pretty much like you can hit anybody. Like you can anything can happen. You can steal. You can get in trouble by the law. That sort of thing. It's kind of interesting, but at the same time, it is very, very annoying. Especially, like I said before, with gear, you're trying to grind, and then out of nowhere, some guy named, I don't know, Nillakilla69, I don't know, just comes out of nowhere and just drops you, and it is probably very annoying. And it's just one of those things where it's like you got to be prepared. You got to look out. You know, if you're into that sort of thing, I know PvP is pretty much the end game of this game. But it is. If you're not into that, then this game is probably not for you. If you want to go straight PvE, then probably do that. But other than that, like I said, it's probably not for you. Anyways, I think that is pretty much everything that is covered right there. It just out of nowhere, just like I said, annoying. But other than that, I think that is everything that I need to entail about the game. I don't think there's anything else that I might have missed. I know sailing and having boats is pretty nice. Pretty great. I know encountering cities and, you know, having conversations, and there's a little bit lore bits, but pretty much if you're not, you don't care, you know, that's a thing. But I think that is all that I have covered. Other than that, that is my impression. Is like I might have to hold off on the game and then wait a while until I see optimization. But other than that, I'll stay with my Final Fantasy 14. Anyway, guys, I'll see y'all later. Take care now.